How are you guys doing? Today is Wednesday, December 14th, 2022. I'm James Sims, and for this episode of The Elite, I am going to review yesterday's Elite matchups and performances from Tuesday, December 13th. And before I preview what's going on today, I'm going to take a quick step back and look at where we are in the calendar year. Starting off first with where we are in Qatar, there are 3 teams left competing for the FIFA World Cup. After Argentina would beat Croatia yesterday, Argentina will face off against the winner of France and Morocco in the final, and the loser of France and Morocco will face off against Croatia in the third place game on Saturday. Taking a look at what's going on with college sports, we are entering bowl season for college football. The first bowl games will be played in a couple of days. In terms of college basketball, all 3 of the top 10 teams that played yesterday would pick up wins. Taking a look at what's going on at the professional level. Starting off with football, week 15 of this 18-week season will begin tomorrow as we are entering the part of the season where teams are starting to fight it out for playoff positioning. In terms of what's going on with the NHL and NBA, we are still in the beginning of those seasons as we did see a good amount of action yesterday. So of course, with that said, I am going to start off with what's going on in Qatar. Yesterday was the first semifinal matchup of the World Cup. Argentina would end up facing off against Croatia, looking at how both of these teams would make it to this round. Croatia would finish second in their group to Morocco after they would finish with 1 win in the group against Canada and draws against Morocco and Belgium. In the round of 16, Croatia would beat Japan 3-1 off penalty kicks. Then in the quarterfinals, they would beat Brazil 4-2 off penalty kicks in order to make it here, after Bruno Petkovic would score in the 117th minute to, of course, upset Brazil fans around the world. Taking a look at how Argentina would make it to this round, they would finish at the top of Group C after losing to Saudi Arabia in the group. They would beat Mexico and Poland to make it to the knockout stage. In the round of 16, Argentina would beat Australia 2-1 thanks to goals from Lionel Messi and Julian Alvarez. In the quarterfinal round, Argentina would beat the Netherlands 2-2. Nahuel Molina and Lionel Messi would score Argentina's first 2 goals before the Netherlands would tie it up and send it into extra time. Argentina would beat the Netherlands off penalty kicks with Lautaro Martinez scoring the game winner. And that is, of course, how Argentina would make it to this semifinal round. In the semifinal matchup versus Croatia, Argentina would end up beating them 3-0. The first goal of this game would be a penalty kick goal from Leo Messi, Argentina's GOAT, in the 34th minute. 5 minutes later, he would just knock the ball to Julian Alvarez, who would take it all the way the length of the field and score in the 39th minute to put Argentina up 2-0 before the half. Julian Alvarez would score in the 69th minute off of an amazing Lionel Messi dribble and assist to score the lone goal of the second half. As with this win, Argentina will get back into the World Cup final. The last time that Argentina has won the World Cup as a nation was 1986. And of course, with this loss, Croatia will advance to the third place game as they will play against the loser of Morocco and France today. And of course, speaking of Morocco and France, that is going to be the second semifinal matchup. Looking first at how Morocco was able to get here, they would finish at the top of Group F with Croatia in it, with their 1 draw coming against Croatia. They would beat Belgium and Canada in the group stage to make it to the round of 16. In the round of 16, Morocco would beat Spain after neither team would score in 120 minutes in 2 hours. However, Morocco would beat Spain 3-0 off of an amazing penalty kick round from their amazing goalie Yassine Bounou. In the quarterfinal round, Morocco would beat Portugal 1-0 as their lone goal would come from Youssef En-Nesyri in the 42nd minute. As with this win, they will face off against a very strong France team, who of course come into this tournament as the defending champs, having won the 2018 FIFA World Cup in Russia. France would finish at the top of their group, which was Group D, with wins over Australia and Denmark before they lost to Tunisia. In the round of 16, France would beat Poland 3-1, with their first goal coming from Olivier Giroud and their 2 second-half goals coming from Kylian Mbappe, who is now tied with Leo Messi for the FIFA World Cup Gold Boot. But since Messi has more assists, Messi has the advantage on Mbappe there. Looking at how France would fare in the quarterfinal round, they would beat England 2-1. Their first goal would come from Aurélien Tchouameni, and after England would tie it up with Harry Kane's goal, Olivier Giroud would put France up 2-1 with a 78th minute goal before Harry Kane would miss his second chance. With this win, France will face off against the first African World Cup team to make it to the semifinals. The winner of this matchup will play Argentina in the final on Sunday. The loser will face off against Croatia in the third place game on Saturday. So, of course, there are 3 teams that are left in the chase. By the end of today, there will be 2 that are left competing for that trophy. Taking a look now what's going on here in the U.S. Of course, with college football picking back up on Friday, there was some college basketball action last night. The 4th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide would be the highest-ranked basketball team to play as they hosted the unranked Memphis Tigers. Alabama would beat unranked Memphis 91-88 at home. They would outscore Memphis by 3 in the first half. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown 4th-ranked Crimson Tide, who are still undefeated at home, would be led in scoring by their freshman starting forward out of Antioch, Tennessee, Brandon Miller. Miller finished with 24 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks in 33 minutes. He would shoot 7 for 13 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3, and 6 for 7 from the free throw line. With this home win, the 4th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide are 9-1 in their first 10 games. With this loss, unranked Memphis is 8-3 this year. Looking at the 5th-ranked team in the nation, the former number 1 overall Houston Cougars would host the unranked North Carolina A&T Aggies. Houston would beat North Carolina A&T by 28 at home. They won it 74-46 after outscoring the Aggies by 15 in the first half and then by 13 in the second. On the winning end of this matchup, the 5th-ranked Cougars would be led in scoring by their starting guard Marcus Sasser, as well as their forward off the bench Javier Francis. Sasser had 17 points in 24 minutes. He would shoot 6 for 10 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3, and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. Francis finished with 17 points, 15 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 28 minutes. He shot 7 for 10 from the field and 3 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the 5th-ranked Houston Cougars are 10-1. With this loss, unranked North Carolina A&T is 4-5, having lost all of their road games to date. Looking at the 9th-ranked team in the nation, the lowest-ranked team to play yesterday would be the Arizona Wildcats, and they would host and beat unranked Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Arizona would win this game by 38 points after they would outscore Texas A&M Corpus Christi by 13 in the first half and then by 25 in the second. On the winning end of this matchup, the 9th-ranked Wildcats would be led in scoring by their starting forward Oswaldas Tubelis. He would finish with 20 points in 13 rebounds as well as 3 steals in 29 minutes. Arizona's junior out of Lithuania would shoot 9 for 16 from the field and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. With this win, 9th-ranked Arizona is 9-1 through their first 10 games, and with this loss, unranked Texas A&M Corpus Christi is 5-5 through their first 10 games. Taking a look at what is going on today, starting off at 7:30, 17th-ranked Mississippi State, who is undefeated at 9-0, is set to host unranked Jackson State, who have lost 8 of their first 9 games to start this year. At 8 o'clock, 19th-ranked Auburn, who only has 1 loss, is set to host unranked Georgia State in Neville Arena. And then at 9 o'clock, 20th-ranked Maryland is set to host 16th-ranked UCLA, as UCLA and Maryland are getting ready to be in the same conference very soon, despite being on opposite ends of the country. Taking a look at what's going on at the professional level, of course, the 15th week of the NFL will begin tomorrow, so I'll get into that in the meantime. But of course, taking a look at what's going on in the NHL, starting off in Boston, the Bruins would host the New York Islanders. The Islanders would force overtime thanks to Casey Cizica's second goal of the year. However, Boston would take it into the shootout and win it off of a goal from David Pastrnak, especially after Josh Bailey's goal attempt would get saved. The top star of this game would be Boston's left winger out of Edmonton, Alberta, Jake DeBrusk. Jake DeBrusk would finish with 2 goals and an assist. The second star would go to Boston center Pavel Zacha. He had 2 assists. And the New York's defender Noah Dobson would finish with a goal and an assist. With this shootout win at home, the Boston Bruins are 23-41. As of right now, their 47 points in 28 games is the best record overall in the entire NHL. In the Atlantic Division, they sit 3 points ahead of the second place Toronto Maple Leafs. In terms of the East, they also sit 3 points ahead of the Metropolitan Division leading New Jersey Devils. At this moment, they sit 4 points ahead of the Western Conference leading Vegas Golden Knights. The Bruins are on a 2-game winning streak as they have now won 7 of their last 10 games to date. And with this overtime loss, the New York Islanders are holding on to a record of 17-12-1. With this overtime loss, they are the last team in the Eastern Conference to have lost in overtime. The Edmonton Oilers are the only team in the MLB who has yet to do so. And of course, with this overtime loss, the Islanders' 35 points in 30 games is tied with the New York Rangers for the 4th best record in the Metropolitan Division. The Islanders have lost their last 2 games. They've lost 5 of their last 10 games, as one of those 5 losses would come in overtime or later. Jumping out to Buffalo, the Sabres would host the LA Kings from the other side of the country. The Sabres would end up beating the Los Angeles Kings 6-0. They would shut them out in due part thanks to their goalie Craig Anderson from Park Ridge, Illinois. He would be the top star of this game as he allowed no goals from LA and had 40 saves on the night at home. Not to mention the Sabres would score all 6 of their goals in the third period. They would take the lead off of Tage Thompson's 22nd of the year. Tage Thompson, Buffalo's right winger from Phoenix, would be the second star as he had 2 goals and an assist for the Sabres. The third star would go to the Buffalo Sabres' center, Dylan Cousins, out of Whitehorse. He would finish with 3 assists. With this win at home, the Buffalo Sabres are holding on to a 13-4-2 record. Their 28 points through 29 games is the second worst record in the Atlantic Division. They sit 19 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins as they've won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Los Angeles Kings are 15-12-5. Their 35 points through 32 games is tied with the Seattle Kraken for the second best record in the Pacific Division. The Kings are sitting 8 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. The Kings are on a 2-game losing streak as they have now lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Detroit, the Red Wings would host the Carolina Hurricanes. The Hurricanes would beat the Red Wings off of just 1 goal, a first-half goal scored by Brady Shai, his 5th goal of the season. The top star would go to Carolina's goalie out of Russia, Pyotr Kochetkov. He would finish with 27 saves as he allowed no goals. Ville Husso, Detroit's goalie, would finish with 26 saves as he had the second star. Brady Shai, the goal scorer of the game, would be the third star for Carolina. With this road win, the Hurricanes are holding on to a 16-6-6 record. Their 38 points in 28 games ties them with the Pittsburgh Penguins for the second best record in the Metropolitan Division, with 1 less game played than the Penguins. The Hurricanes are sitting 6 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. With this win, they're on a 2-game winning streak as they've won 6 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Detroit Red Wings are 13-9-6. Their 32 points through 28 games is tied with the Florida Panthers for the 4th best standing in the Atlantic Division. They sit 15 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. The Red Wings are on a 3-game losing streak. Only the Flyers have a longer active losing streak in the East. The Red Wings have lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Florida, the Panthers would host the Columbus Blue Jackets, who would come in with the worst record in the East. The Panthers would shut the Blue Jackets out 4-0 with 2 goals in the second period. The top star would go to Florida's goalie, Sergei Bobrovsky, out of Russia. In addition to allowing no goals, he would have 22 saves. Florida's left winger Matthew Tkachuk would finish with a goal and an assist, as well as the second star. Florida center Alexander Barkov would have a goal, an assist, and the third star of the game. With this home win, the Florida Panthers are now 14-12-4. Their 32 points in 30 games is tied with the Detroit Red Wings for the fourth best record in the Atlantic, with 2 more games played than Detroit. The Panthers are sitting 15 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins, and at this point, they've won 4 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the Columbus Blue Jackets are 10-16-2. Their 22 points in 28 games is the worst standing in the Metropolitan Division and in the Eastern Conference. The Chicago Blackhawks and the Anaheim Ducks are the 2 teams in the NHL with worse records than the Blue Jackets right now. The Blue Jackets, with 22 points, are sitting 22 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. And with this loss, the Blue Jackets have lost 7 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to New Jersey, the Metropolitan Division leading New Jersey Devils would host the Central Division leading Dallas Stars. The Stars would end up beating the Jersey Devils to take sole control of their division for the time being. They would win it 4-1 after scoring 2 goals in the second and 2 goals in the third. After New Jersey would tie it up in the second, Dallas would score their go-ahead goal from Roope Hintz to end the second off of his 13th of the season. The top star of this game would be Dallas's goalie out of Ontario, Scott Wedgwood. In addition to just allowing 1 goal from the best team in the Metropolitan Division, he would have 35 saves. With this road win, the Dallas Stars are holding on to a division-leading record of 17-8-5. Their 39 points sits 2 points ahead of the second-place Winnipeg Jets for right now. They sit 4 points behind the Western Conference leading Vegas Golden Knights, and for right now, the Stars have won 5 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the New Jersey Devils are 21-6-2. Their 44 points in 29 games is the best record in the Metropolitan Division. They sit 6 points ahead of the Carolina Hurricanes and the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are tied for second. They are still sitting 3 points now behind the Eastern Conference leading and NHL leading Boston Bruins. The Devils are on a 3-game losing streak right now. Only the Philadelphia Flyers have a longer active losing streak in the East. The Devils have lost 5 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Tampa Bay, the Lightning would host the Seattle Kraken from the Pacific Northwest, from the opposite end of the country. The Lightning would beat the Kraken at home 6-2, especially after they would score 3 goals in the second period. The Kraken were not able to take the lead at all in this game. The top star would be Tampa Bay's right winger out of MyCop Russia, Nikita Kucherov. He would finish with 3 assists. Braden Point, Tampa Bay's center, would finish with a goal and an assist. And then Tampa's defender, Mikhail Sergachev, would finish with a couple of assists as well. With this win, the defending back-to-back Eastern Conference champs, Tampa Bay Lightning, are 18-9-1. Their 37 points in 28 games is the 3rd best record in the Atlantic Division. They sit 10 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. The Lightning are on a 3-game winning streak as of right now, as they've won 7 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the Seattle Kraken are 16-9-3. Their 35 points in 28 games ties them with the LA Kings for the 2nd best record in the Pacific, with 4 less games played than the Kings. They sit 8 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights, and with this loss, the Kraken have lost 4 of their last 10 to date. Jumping out to Toronto, the Maple Leafs would host the Anaheim Ducks, who would enter this matchup with the worst record in the entire National Hockey League. The Maple Leafs would beat the Ducks 7-0 at home, scoring 2 goals in the first, 2 in the second, and 3 in the third. The top star of this game would be Toronto's goalie out of Russia, Ilya Samsonov. Samsonov would allow no goals from Anaheim, as he had 28 saves. The second star would be Toronto's center, Alexander Kerfoot, out of Vancouver. He would finish with 2 goals, and then Toronto's defender, Connor Timmins, would finish with a trio of assists, as their defender out of Ontario would be the third star. With this home win over the NHL's worst team, the Toronto Maple Leafs are 19-5-6. Their 44 points through 30 games is the 2nd best record in the Atlantic Division, and it is tied with the Devils for the 2nd best record in the entire NHL. They sit 3 points behind the division-leading Boston Bruins. They're on a 4-game winning streak at the moment. Only the Penguins and the Capitals have longer winning streaks in the Eastern Conference than the Maple Leafs do, and at this point, the Maple Leafs have won 9 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the Anaheim Ducks are 7-20-3. Their 17 points in 30 games is the worst record in the entire NHL. In the Pacific Division, they are sitting 26 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. As of right now, the Ducks are on a 3-game losing streak. Only the Predators and the Blackhawks have longer losing streaks in the West. As of right now, the Ducks have lost 9 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Nashville, Tennessee, the Predators would host the Edmonton Oilers. The Oilers would beat the Predators 6-3 after scoring 3 goals in the first period after Nashville would score the first goal of the game. The Oilers would take the outright lead in this game off of Zach Hyman's second goal of the game and 12th goal of the season. Hyman would finish with a hat trick for Edmonton alongside an assist as he would get the 3rd star of the game. Edmonton center Connor McDavid would finish with a goal and 3 assists, as Edmonton center out of Germany, Leon Draisaitl, had 2 goals and 3 assists. With this road win at Nashville, the Edmonton Oilers are holding on to a 17-13-0 record, as they are now the only team in the NHL who has yet to lose in overtime. Their 34 points in 30 games are the 4th best record in the Pacific Division. They sit 9 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights at the moment. The Oilers have won 7 of their last 10 games to date. And with this loss, the Nashville Predators are 12-12-3. Their 27 points in 27 games ties them with the St. Louis Blues for the 5th best record in the Central Division. The Predators are sitting 12 points behind the division-leading Dallas Stars. As with this loss, they're holding on to a 4-game losing streak. They are tied with the Blackhawks for the longest active losing streak in the Western Conference. And as of right now, they are currently tied with the Philadelphia Flyers for the longest active losing streak in the entire NHL at this point. Alongside their 4-game losing streak, the Predators have lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Jets, who are tied for the Central Division lead, would host the Pacific Division leading Vegas Golden Knights. The Golden Knights would beat the Jets 6-5 as the Stars would jump in front of the Jets in their division. The Golden Knights would win this one by 1. It was a back and forth affair. After the score was tied at 4, the Golden Knights would take the outright lead off of Jonathan Marchessault's 14th goal of the season and 2nd goal of the period and the game. Jonathan Marchessault, Vegas' center from Quebec, would be the top star of the game with his 2 goals. Winnipeg center Mike Scheifele out of Ontario would finish with a hat trick as on the losing end. Vegas' right winger Mark Stone would finish with 2 goals himself and the 3rd star. With this road win, the Vegas Golden Knights are now holding on to a record of 21-9-1. They are holding on to the best record in the West, and as of right now, they are still sitting 4 points behind the NHL leading Boston Bruins. They hold the 4th best record in the NHL right now. They are sitting 8 points ahead of the Seattle Kraken and the LA Kings in that division. In the West, they are sitting 4 points ahead of the Central Division leading Dallas Stars. As with this win, the Vegas Golden Knights are 5-5. With this loss, the Winnipeg Jets are 18-9-1. Their 37 points through 28 games is the 2nd best standing in the Central Division. The Jets are sitting 2 points behind the division-leading Dallas Stars. The Jets are on a 2-game losing streak as they have lost 3 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Chicago, the Blackhawks would host the Washington Capitals. The Capitals would end up beating the Blackhawks 7-3. Washington's future Hall of Famer Alex Ovechkin would reach 800 goals with his hat trick goal, his 3rd goal of the game in the 3rd period. And with this win, of course, Alex Ovechkin would be the top star of the game with his 3 goals and assist out of Moscow. The 2nd star would go to Connor Sheary, Washington's left winger out of Winchester, Massachusetts. He would have a couple of assists. And Washington's right winger, Anthony Mantha, would have 1 goal and an assist on the road. As with this win in Chicago, the Washington Capitals are now 15-12-4. Right now, the Capitals' 34 points in 31 games is the third worst record in the Metropolitan Division. They are sitting 10 points behind the division-leading Devils, and they are currently on a 5-game winning streak. Washington's 5-game winning streak is the longest active winning streak in the entire NHL, as they've now won 7 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the Chicago Blackhawks are 7-16-4. Their 18 points through 27 games is the worst standing in the Central Division. Only the Anaheim Ducks have a worse record in the NHL than the Blackhawks do. In their division, they sit 21 points behind the division-leading Dallas Stars. The Blackhawks' 4-game losing streak is tied with the Nashville Predators and the Philadelphia Flyers for the longest active losing streak in the NHL. Alongside their 4-game losing streak, the Blackhawks have lost 9 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to the Mile High City in Denver, the defending NHL champions Colorado Avalanche would host the Flyers. The Avalanche would beat the Flyers 3-2 as they extend the Flyers' losing streak to 4, tied amongst the longest active losing streaks in the NHL. The Avalanche would win this game in the second period after the Flyers had scored the first and the last goals of the game. The Avalanche would take the outright lead off of Artturi Lehkonen's 8th goal of the season, even though they were shorthanded. Artturi Lehkonen, Colorado's left winger out of Finland, would be the top star of the game with his goal and assist. Colorado's left winger JT Compher would be the second star as he had a goal and an assist himself. With this home win, the defending champs Colorado Avalanche are holding on to an NHL record of 15-10-2. Their 32 points in 27 games is tied with the Minnesota Wild for the third best record in the Central Division. They sit 7 points behind the division-leading Dallas Stars, and as of right now, the Avalanche are on a 2-game winning streak as they've won 4 of their last 10 games. With this loss, the Philadelphia Flyers are 9-14-7. They are the only team in the Eastern Conference who has yet to pick up double-digit wins, as with their 25 points in 30 games, they have the second worst record in their division. They are sitting 19 points behind the division-leading New Jersey Devils. Their 4-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the East. It is tied with the Predators and the Blackhawks out west for the longest active losing streak in the NHL. Alongside their 4-game losing streak, the Flyers have lost 8 of their last 10 games to date. And then last but not least, jumping out to the Bay Area, the San Jose Sharks would host the Arizona Coyotes. The Sharks would win this game at home 3-2. The Coyotes would not get a lead at all in this game after the Sharks would score 2 goals in the first. The top star would be San Jose's center out of Hartford, Connecticut, Nick Bonino. He would finish with a goal and an assist, as San Jose's defender Scott Harrington would finish with a couple of assists. With this home win, the San Jose Sharks are holding on to an NHL record of 10-16-5. Their 25 points through 31 games is the second worst standing in the Pacific Division. They sit 18 points behind the division-leading Vegas Golden Knights. The Sharks are on a 2-game winning streak as they've won 3 of their last 10. With this loss, the Arizona Coyotes are 9-14-4. Their 22 points in 27 games is the second worst standing in the Central Division. They sit 17 points behind the division-leading Stars, and with this loss, they've lost 7 of their last 10 games to date. So that is what the NHL is looking like as we go into today's matchups. There's only 3 of them today. 2 of them are going to be on TNT. At 7:30, the Minnesota Wild, who hold the 4th best record in the Central Division, are set to host the Detroit Red Wings, who have the 4th best record in the Atlantic Division. After that on TNT, the Calgary Flames, who have the 5th best record in the Pacific, are going to host the Vancouver Canucks, who hold the 6th best record or the 3rd worst record in that same division. Outside of that, at 7 o'clock, the Ottawa Senators are going to face off against the Montreal Canadiens in Iowa. And using that to transition into the NBA, I will start off with what happened in Philly. The 76ers would host the Sacramento Kings and beat the Kings 123-103. They won this game by 20 at home after outscoring the Kings by 8 in the first quarter and by 18 in the second, as they were up by 26 at the half. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Sacramento Kings were led in scoring by their starting power forward out of Gonzaga, Domantas Sabonis. The former All-Star would finish with 22 points points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists in 30 minutes. He shot 8 for 10 from the field and 6 for 7 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown 76ers would be led in scoring by their elite starting center out of Kansas, Joel Embiid. Embiid had 31 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists in 30 minutes. He shot 10 for 16 from the field and 11 for 13 from the free throw line. Philly's elite starting shooting guard, James Harden, out of Arizona State, would finish with 21 points, 7 rebounds, 15 assists, 5 steals, and 6 turnovers in 36 minutes. The future Hall of Famer would shoot 7 for 13 from the field, 4 for 7 from 3, and 3 for 6 from the free throw line. Philly starting power forward Tobias Harris finished with 21 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists in 34 minutes. He shot 9 for 17 from the field as he made his only free throw of the day. With this win at home, the Philadelphia 76ers are 15-12. They currently hold on to the 5th best record in the East as they now sit 6 games behind the conference-leading Boston Celtics. The Sixers are on a 3-game winning streak as only the Brooklyn Nets have a longer winning streak than them in the East, and the Knicks, by the way. And the 76ers have won 6 of their last 10 to date. With this loss, the Sacramento Kings are holding on to a 14-12 record. That is the 7th best record in the Western Conference. They sit 3.5 games behind the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies, who are now tied at the top of the West. The Kings have lost their last 2 games, and they've now lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Milwaukee, the Bucks would host the defending champs, Golden State Warriors, as the Bucks would win this game by 17 at home. They won it 128-111 after they would outscore the Warriors by 11 in the first quarter. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting defending champs Warriors were led in scoring by their future Hall of Fame starting point guard, Stephen Curry. He would finish with 20 points and 6 rebounds in 27 minutes. He shot 6 for 17 from the field, 3 for 10 from 3. He would make all 5 of his free throws. Golden State's elite starting shooting guard and 4-time champion Klay Thompson had 14 points and 2 assists in 27 minutes. He shot 6 for 16 from the field and 2 for 7 from 3. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Milwaukee Bucks would be led in scoring by their elite starting power forward out of Greece, former 2-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. Antetokounmpo would finish with 30 points, 12 rebounds, 5 assists as well in 30 minutes. He would shoot 9 for 26 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and 11 for 17 from the foul line. Milwaukee's forward off the bench, Bobby Portis, had 25 points and 11 rebounds in 32 minutes. He would shoot 11 for 15 from the field as he made both of his free throws. Milwaukee starting small forward Chris Middleton finished with 20 points in 29 minutes. He would shoot 6 for 13 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3 as he would make all 5 of his free throws. With this win, the Milwaukee Bucks are now 20-7. They are the second team in the NBA to cross the 20-win threshold, the second team in the East to do so. They have the second best record in the Eastern Conference as they sit a full game behind the Celtics with just 2 less wins. With this win, the Bucks have won 8 of their last 10 games to date. With this loss, the defending champs Golden State Warriors are 14-14 with a 2-12 road record. They are holding on to the 10th best record in the West, sitting at 500. They sit 4.5 games behind the New Orleans Pelicans and the Memphis Grizzlies, who are tied at the top of the West. With this loss, the Warriors have lost 4 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Houston, Texas, the Rockets would host the Phoenix Suns and pick up their 9th win of the season after beating the Suns 111-97. They won this game by 14 at home after outscoring the Suns by 7 in the first quarter and then by 12 in the second, as the Rockets were winning by 19 at the half. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Suns were led in scoring by their starting small forward out of Villanova, Mikal Bridges. The former national champ would finish with 18 points and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He would shoot 4 for 24 from the field as he made all 8 of his free throws. Phoenix's elite starting point guard and future Hall of Famer, Chris Paul, would finish with 16 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, and 2 steals in 38 minutes. He shot 5 for 17 from the field, 2 for 10 from 3, but Paul would make all 4 of his free throws. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Houston Rock. Oh, by the way, Josh Okogie would have the play of the day. But still, on the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Houston Rockets would be led in scoring by their starting shooting guard, Jalen Green. The former number 2 overall pick would finish with 26 points and 7 rebounds in 37 minutes. He would shoot 7 for 17 from the field and 11 for 12 from the free throw line. Houston starting center Alperen Sengun had 10 points and 16 rebounds in 29 minutes. He shot 4 for 10 from the field as he made both of his free throws. With this win at home, the Houston Rockets are holding on to a 9-18 record. They are tied with the San Antonio Spurs for the worst record in the Western Conference. They sit ahead of the Magic, the Hornets, and the Pistons in terms of having the worst record in the NBA. With this win, the Rockets are on a 2-game winning streak as they have now won 6 of their last 10 games to date. And with this loss, the Phoenix Suns are 16-12. They hold on to the 4th best record in the West as they now sit 2.5 games behind the Pelicans and the Grizzlies. The Suns' 5-game losing streak is the longest active losing streak in the entire Western Conference. Only the Wizards have a longer losing streak in the NBA at 7 losses. And with this 5-game losing streak, the Suns have lost 6 of their last 10 games to date. Jumping out to Salt Lake City, the Utah Jazz would host the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Jazz would put an end to the Pelicans' 7-game winning streak, as now the Pelicans are no longer the sole leaders of the Western Conference. The Jazz would beat the Pelicans 121-120. They won this game by 3 touchdowns at home after they would outscore the Pelicans by 8 in the second quarter and by 13 in the third, by 21 in the middle quarters. On the losing end of this matchup, the visiting Pelicans were led in scoring by their elite starting power forward out of Duke, their former number 1 overall pick, Zion Williamson. Zion Williamson would finish with 26 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals in 26 minutes. He would shoot 10 for 16 from the field and 6 for 10 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the hometown Utah Jazz were led in scoring by their shooting guard off the bench, Malik Beasley. He had 21 points in 31 minutes. He would shoot 8 for 19 from the field and 5 for 12 from 3. Utah's starting power forward, Lauri Markkanen, would finish with 19 points and 11 rebounds in 31 minutes. He would shoot 8 for 16 from the field and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. Utah's starting forward, Jared Vanderbilt out of Kentucky, had 18 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists as he nearly fouled out in 23 minutes. Vanderbilt shot 8 for 9 from the field and 2 for 3 from the free throw line. And Utah's center off the bench out of Auburn, Walker Kessler, had 11 points, 16 rebounds, and 3 blocks in 23 minutes. He would shoot 5 for 10 from the field and 1 for 2 from the free throw line. With this win, the Utah Jazz are 16-14. That is the 8th best record in the Western Conference win percentage-wise, as they are tied for the third most amount of wins in the West. They are sitting 3.5 games behind the conference-leading Pelicans and Grizzlies. The Jazz have won 4 of their last 10 games to date. And with this loss, the Pelicans are 18-9. They are tied with the Grizzlies for the best record in the Western Conference, as they now sit 1.5 games ahead of the third-place Denver Nuggets. Record-wise, they still sit behind the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks out east, as they still have yet to cross the 20-win threshold. However, with this loss, they've only lost 2 of their last 10 games to date. And then, of course, last but not least, jumping out to LA for one of the most storied rivalries in NBA history, the Los Angeles Lakers would host the Boston Celtics, and in a game that would go to overtime, the Celtics would beat the Lakers in LA 122-118. The Lakers would force overtime. However, the Celtics would outscore the Lakers 12-8 in that period to pick up their 22nd win of the year. On the losing end of this overtime matchup, the hometown Lakers were led in scoring by their elite starting power forward out of Kentucky, Anthony Davis. Davis had 37 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists as well in 46 minutes. He would shoot 13 for 24 from the field and 11 for 15 from the free throw line. The Lakers' goated starting small forward and future Hall of Famer LeBron James would finish with 33 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists and 2 steals in 43 minutes. The four-time NBA Finals MVP would shoot 14 for 25 from the field, 3 for 11 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. Off the bench, the Lakers' goated point guard and the NBA's all-time leader in triple-doubles, Russell Westbrook, finished with 20 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists, and 4 blocks in 35 minutes. He would shoot 7 for 19 from the field, 1 for 6 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. On the winning end of this matchup, the visiting Celtics were led in scoring by their elite starting small forward out of Duke, Jason Tatum. Tatum finished with 44 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists in 44 minutes. He shot 15 for 29 from the field, 5 for 10 from 3, and 9 for 10 from the free throw line. The Celtics starting shooting guard Jaylen Brown from Atlanta would finish with a double-double as he had 25 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, and 3 steals in 43 minutes. He would shoot 10 for 21 from the field, 3 for 7 from 3, and 2 for 4 from the free throw line. With this win, the Boston Celtics are 22-7. They hold the best win percentage and the most wins in the NBA right now, right in the Eastern Conference. They sit 1 game ahead of the second place Milwaukee Bucks. With this win, the Celtics have won 7 of their last 10 games, and with this overtime loss, the Los Angeles Lakers are 11-16. They are tied with the Oklahoma City Thunder for the 3rd worst record in the Western Conference. They sit 7 games behind the conference-leading Pelicans and Grizzlies, and the Lakers have lost 5 of their last 10 games to date. Transitioning into the NBA today, of course, today is Wednesday, so of course the primetime games today are set to be on ESPN. First off, at 7:30, the 11-5 Chicago Bulls, who hold the 5th worst record in the East, are set to host the 14-12 Sacramento Kings, who hold the 7th best record in the West. At 10 o'clock on ESPN, the LA Clippers, who hold the 6th best record in the West, are set to host the 13-4 Minnesota Timberwolves, who hold the 5th worst record in the West and are sitting 1 game below 500. Both of those games are going to be on ESPN. Outside of the primetime games, at 7, the Charlotte Hornets, who are holding on to the second worst record in the NBA, are going to host the Pistons, who hold the actual worst record in the NBA and the NBA's version of the Toilet Bowl. At 7 o'clock, the defending champs Warriors are going to go to Indianapolis to face off against the Pacers, as both of these teams are 14-14. At 7 o'clock, the 8-20 Orlando Magic are set to host the Atlanta Hawks, who are also sitting at 500. And then at 7:30, the Toronto Raptors are going to host the Sacramento Kings. At 8 o'clock, the Oklahoma City Thunder are set to host the Miami Heat. The San Antonio Spurs are also set to host the Trailblazers, as the Spurs are tied with the Rockets for the worst record in the West. At 9, the Mavericks are going to host the Cavaliers. The Nuggets are going to host the Wizards as well. That's all that I have for you for today. I do want to thank the ESPN, the FIFA, the NCAA, NFL, NHL, and NBA sites for giving me all the facts and figures. And with that said, I will catch you with more tomorrow, as I do have an elite individual profile after this. So with that said, I want to thank everyone for listening. I hope all is well, and I'll catch you with more tomorrow. Peace out.